Buenos días. Hello. Good morning, everybody. How are you? So sorry for these minutes. We had kind of some tech issues. Morning. Hello. Give me a sec to share my screen. Here we are. Morning. Buenos días. Okay, I think you can see my PPT, right? Morning. Hi, Monica. Hi, Juan Diego. How are you? So, okay, glad to be with you with the next lesson. This is lesson or session number 3, the second with me, right? And, give me a sec to see here. Okay, well, last session, everyone told me that you preferred these classes or these sessions to be presented in English, right? And that's the reason I will deliver it in English, but you will find some of the slides also in Spanish, okay? Just in case we have participants, as I told you the previous lesson, and that are recently starting in this way of learning English, or they're about to start teaching very soon, okay? So everyone can get adapted to the information. This first lesson about the course Teaching Young Learners, it's something really important, okay? We need to consider while we teach kids or very little kids, right? Which is the classroom management, okay? Usually happens that while we're studying the career, okay? I know if I have here some colleagues, okay? When we study the career at university, we've got many courses, right? About methodologies, about approaches, about psychology as well, no? But actually the learning way, no? But what about the management of different kind of issues we have, okay? Because normal as a kid, okay? How can we manage them? How can we find a good or a proper solution in that class? Because I don't know if that's your feeling, and we will discuss that in a minute in a Padlet. I'm just waiting to have a little more participants here in the lesson. We're only 20, I guess, right now. Okay, so everyone can share your own experiences while in classroom, or if there is anyone that hasn't started in classroom yet and you are getting prepared, you can just share your ideas of what you think you will face, okay, is as a class management while teaching kids, while teaching young learners in general, okay? That's the first thing we will do during the first part of this lesson, which I enjoy a lot. Well, this is how I introduced myself last session in case someone is coming today, okay, and you missed the previous one. Hello, welcome. Nice to meet you virtually, that I will with you 4 classes. This is the second one. And as remember I told you, as a part of apart from my experience as a teacher of English, actually, I've been teaching English for about 13 years, okay? Almost 13 years. So, I mean, a teacher of English was my very first job when I was 18, okay? And I have the experience teaching different ages, since little kids till very old, okay? But from that, I also told you that I specialized, okay, also in the part of the behavioral thing, in the brain thing, in the neuroscience thing. For that reason, many of the slides you will have here, much of the info I will share with you is from that evidence, yes, from the neuroscience evidence, okay? And also because teaching kids and having my own kids, because I am a mother, I've got 2 children, is that I decided to also start being involved or related to discipline, okay? For that reason, I am a certified educator in positive discipline by the PDA. You know what's the PDA? Positive Discipline Association, which is from the US, and it certifies, okay, educators around the world in positive discipline. Okay, so this topic, okay, the topic of this lesson is a lot related, okay, to this other thing that I love. I mean, okay, positive discipline, under how to, because management or this classroom management has to do a lot with knowing how the brain of a child develops, okay, a lot. And that is something that probably was a lack or has been a lack during many years in education field, okay, and continues to be, let's be honest, it continues. I mean, now it's difficult for relearning, so learning new things that probably we weren't used to years ago, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about this lesson, okay, about this classroom management, some behavioral problems or challenges we have while teaching English. And you will share your experiences not only on a face-to-face class, I mean, in a proper classroom, but also online, no? Because of the pandemic, many of us started teaching online. Probably you continue teaching online, okay? And teaching online, but teaching to young learners is a very huge challenge, no? Probably a little more complex, okay, than teaching to adults, right? And everything has to do with brain, okay, with the brain, with the different, remember we check last class, the cognitive theories, okay? What you check on the first class with your teacher, Milagros, that you were talking about the different areas of development, emotional, motor one, social, cognitive, everything it's related. And it's important to know when we are facing this kind of challenges in a class, because definitely that will affect the process of learning, okay, if my students are really getting what we are teaching. And if you are teaching schools, I don't know if there is, if you can share in the chat, please, where do you work, where do you teach? Is that at school? Is that an institute? Is that private lessons, online or not online? Yes, you can share it here in the chat so we can learn from different experiences. But apart from, I mean, when teaching at school, I admire our teachers when we work at school, okay, I include myself sometimes, because you also have to deal with parents, and that's not easy as well, right? Okay, so this lesson, as I told you, for the students who just connected, in a sec, it's about classroom management, okay? So here, and to start with, I will show you. Okay, as I told you, I would like to know from your experiences, okay? Let's start our context. You as teachers, okay, which are the different challenges you have when delivering your classes to young learners? Remember, we're talking about young learners, okay? Adults, we have different challenges, okay, as well. Probably a bit of teenagers, like 13, 14 as well. And you can consider them if you want, okay? But what about teaching to kindergarten students, primary? Yes? Please, there you have a QR code that you can just get it from your mobile phones. It's a Padlet. I will also share that link to the chat right now. Yes, please share all kind of problems, difficult situations you have experienced, okay, in classroom while teaching to young learners. In case of any participants here that you have no experience yet, okay, teaching to young learners, please share what you think would be a problem for you, okay? Share what you think will be a challenge for you while teaching to young learners, okay? Give me a second that I will share the link also in the chat. So give me a sec. 1 minute, 1 minute. You have the QR, but I will also give you the link. I'll just copy from the PPT. Give me a second. Let's see. Very soon. Here, chat. Okay, I have just send you the link of this Padlet. Now I'm going back to my, in case you can't read the QR code, it will be, it's the same, the link or the QR, okay? So let's go to this Padlet, please, and share all different challenges you have had while teaching to young learners, okay? Now, again, we're talking about classroom management, so that means all related to their behavior, their conduct, okay? Or different situation that you consider a challenge, not in the way of probably methodology of teaching, I know, listening or teaching writing, no, okay? Remember, we're talking about this kind of things related to behavior, conduct, and so on, okay? Let's have a couple of minutes and then we start checking together, yes? I will also share the Padlet instead. Please, are you sharing your ideas there in the Padlet? This is it. I will show it to you. You are like 30 participants, so we should have here. Thank you. I have one. Thanks, Mercedes. Okay, let's have at least the third part. Everyone can answer, can share experience. Yeah, for example, we have cheating, talking without permission, and fighting. Yes. Thank you. What else? Okay, let me check in the chat. Thank you, Miss Jeunesse. They don't obey some of them. Yes. What else? What other kind of classroom management we have? Okay, Melissa says when students do homework of another subject. Yeah, for no, they are in the middle of the class. I remember that used to happen to me also. Yeah, they are in the middle of the class. That what happened to me when I was teaching school. Yeah, in the middle of the English class, and they were doing homework from other subjects. Yes, some of them are very inquisitive, and they interrupt when the teacher explains the class. Okay, what about the interruptions during explanations, cheating, lack of responsibility? Great, thank you. What else? I will also try to copy this on the Padlet because then I share the Padlets in the Google Classroom, no? So everyone can find a same situation. We are not alone. We are not alone. We are facing the same problem. Okay, give me a sec. Everyone else, please. Okay, we'll share here from Elisa, then Miss Ines. I will copy the answer you're putting in the Zoom chat. Yes. So then you find it. So everyone can see. Okay. talking a lot. They have some problems with students when they interrupt a lot. So interruption is probably the situation that is getting more repetitive, right? And they don't respect the classroom rules most of the time. Okay. Here. Kyochi says their emotional family problems and sometimes they crying or not paying attention. Yes. But would you say that we are facing now after this pandemic situation different, no, kind of behavioral problems, emotional problems? I don't know if you notice that. I in my case, for example, I have been teaching online. Well, I continue teaching online, by the way, but like going back to teach face to face after so many years, and I compare myself as a teacher, and I compare my students, the ones from until 2019 before the pandemic, and the students that I'm having now in this 2023. Oh my God, there's a huge difference. No, there is a huge there is an impact after. No, it's like pre and after. And what you mentioned, Kyochi, yes, now it's a lot. I mean, it's happening a lot. I will also write it here. Okay, great. Juan Dios says the rest. Yes, disruptive behavior, lack of attention, aggression, incomplete assignments, lack of motivation, bullying. Yep. Now the bullying, a parenthesis, what some participants continue replying. Bullying, yeah, is something that exists, definitely, but I have noticed that there is also a lot of misinformation among parents and among teachers as well. Now everything is bullying. And no, bullying has some specific characteristics. Okay, for example, in the case of from fields as psychologists or as educators, or like in my case that I work also related to positive discipline and parenthood and etc. I have noticed a lot of that, no, misinformation regarding bullying, but it exists. Of course, it exists, but there are some different characteristics. Sometimes people call bullying for kindergarten students or a primary student, first grade of school. I mean, they are 6 years old, 6, 7, and that's bullying. No. Okay, so, but there is a different topic. I mean, we can do a course just about bullying, or we have sessions just about bullying. It exists, yes, it is, but let's just check now which are the criteria to, yeah, this is bullying, and we need to have different resources. No, hi, Monica, how are you? Judith, most of the students and first grades have problems about behavior. Yes, I will share this in the Padlet. Thank you, Judith. Great. Anyone else? Other kind of challenges regarding classroom behavior, classroom management? I'm sharing the ones who you can type here in the Zoom chat, and I'm just copy and pasting to the Padlet because I will upload the Padlet later in the Google Classroom. Okay. Great. What else? To encourage teenagers to speak in front of class. Yeah, that happened a lot. No, especially teenagers. Well, what about you? When you were students, were you the ones that really liked to participate in front of everyone? Were you the ones that always were raising your hands and talking? Let's confess that I was the other side of the group. I mean, the shy one. I didn't enjoy talking in front of people. Yes, I always got nervous. I was very shy. I probably knew the answer, but I didn't raise my hand. So, and it happened to me at school and then in an institute, because I also study English in an institute. Remember, I was in advanced courses, about to finish, and my teacher always told me, but Alejandra, you need to participate more. You need to talk more. No, that was something very constant. How I ended up teaching English, I don't know. I have no idea how I ended up as a teacher. Okay, and not only to kids but also to teenagers and adults, etc. I have no idea, but destiny hacks it all, right? This is about happens. No, it's part of personality. So yeah, that's a huge challenge. Okay, especially in teenagers, and we need to be very careful because what we say, what we do, is what is going to mark the difference, and that's what we'll see in this session. Yes. What else? And the students don't pay attention. They want to do homework. Yeah, they do homework from different subjects. Bothering each other. Students don't ask for permission at the moment of entering to the class. Yeah, that was part of respect, right? Students do homework with other subjects. That's the other one that is getting repetitive. Thank you. Okay, no one else. Let me go back to the chat. They behave different behaviors. Yeah, in different ways. Yeah. Okay. Special needs. Sorry, I was reading here on the absenteeism in telecommunication issues, etc. Thank you very much. I think everyone, if you have more ideas, then you would and share. Okay. Probably any specific situation I know you have had with one, or two students, or something we will always remember, right? What happened to us in our classes. They don't listen to the instructions of teachers. Some of them are very hyperactive. Okay, they are hyperactives. Okay, I think I have read most of them, not all of them. They don't respect the classroom rules. Okay, great. So correction, they have different behavior. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so probably the ones that from the people that have shared here, the one that is getting repetitive is that they do everything, like doing homework from different subjects. Okay, then that talking slash not paying attention, right? And what else? What talking, not paying attention, and few of you about related to the emotional problems and so on. No. Okay, and then the following instructions, not following instructions. So not following instructions, lots of talking, not paying attention, probably emotional problems, and they do different things, but that's also related to attention, no? And not really in the English class. Okay, thank you. Yeah, some children are not very sociable, definitely. Thank you, and let's go back here. Okay, let me go back to my PPT. Okay. Here, what the word, the phrase, the quote or the phrases in Spanish, but getting the idea. Okay, that we need to, as educators, we need to remember, or we need to know this. Okay, but not only us. As we're talking about young learners, which they are of course underage, this is something that also parents or families need to know. And that's for the reason when we're teaching, again, young learners, we need to work as a team, which is sometimes difficult. Okay, but this it's something that we always need to remember, right? That a stress brain, okay, blocks. Okay, it like kind of blocks, it stops learning. All the learning input that brain is receiving, it can just get blocked because of the stress. Now, will you say, okay, but normally when we refer to the word stress, we're talking about adults, everyone is stressed, teachers are stressed, and parents, families are stressed. Yes, everyone is stressed nowadays. Also kids, yes, also the young learners. Of course, they are not stressed with the same reasons as probably us, that we have lots of problems. But here talking about the stress, okay, we're referring to the biological thing, the neurological thing, okay, that is definitely going to affect, okay, if that student will learn or won't learn. We can probably see at the end of the year or at the end of the cycle, the semester, etc., that one or two or three, we already identify those students, no? And say, yeah, I know, I constantly teach him, her, I give extra practice, but he doesn't get it, she doesn't get it, I don't know what the problem is, and etc. Okay, and probably the thing is not my methodology or the exercises or the time, no. Okay, it comes from a neurological thing, a neurobiological thing, which is stress. Okay, and it's something to do with and the different hormones affecting the brain. That's what we'll see in some minutes, okay? As we're talking about brains, because the stress, and remember what I told you at the beginning of this lesson, of this session, that we're talking about classroom management, all things you mentioned in the Padlet, like lack of attention, talking too much, not following rules, or probably fighting, no? Students fighting, having problems within them, or among them, and emotional problems, all of that, it's here, okay? Everything starts here. Sorry, okay? Everything starts here. And remember what I have been telling you since the previous class. As educators, it's our responsibility now not only to stick to the methodology, approaches, IT, all the apps, all the artificial intelligence, all the websites. Yeah, that is part of it. But that won't work if we don't learn about the brain, especially again when we are teaching to young learners, okay? Why is it important to know about it? First, that will help us to have real expectations about what we're going to face in the classroom, okay? That is, and this is something I always tell not only to teachers, to families, to mothers, okay, fathers, because if we don't know about this, if we don't understand, I mean, the idea is not, again, not to learn the anatomical thing. That is if you want and in the future you would like to specialize in that. Particularly something that I love and I like to know or learn. That's what I told you. But in general, at least every adult that is in charge of kids, of young learners, okay, or underage, right? Teenagers, we include teenagers as teachers, educators, principals, school principals, and psychologists, parents, etc., should know at least some key concepts we're going to see today. Okay, so we have real expectations from our students and what we can do, how can we manage that, what kind of resources we have during those moments that, to be honest, those moments, and when they are constant, we don't know what to do, sometimes lead teachers to quit. It's like they just cannot manage, no? And they decide to quit because of that, right? And because the new generations are definitely not the same as the previous one. And as I told you, there is also a difference before pandemic and after pandemic, and worldwide. Yes. Oh, now imagine in our country that suffered the most. No. So how much we know about the brain? Okay. For example, do you know that it's kind of divided in three parts? Have you ever heard about this? Okay. Fortunately, in the recent years, many people are talking about this. Okay, neurosciences is kind of getting very popular, and I am really glad. Okay, because for example, here in our country, in Peru, okay, we are very few neuroeducators in the field. Okay, very few, but we are starting hopefully kind of training teachers around all country, okay, from all educational fields to know about this. Okay, for that reason, you will see more courses, more specializations. Now universities are also giving courses about this, okay, which didn't exist before pandemic. And we will check some general ideas, okay, for you to know about the brain. There are like three ways, like three brains. Okay, a way to know that. The instinctive brain, the emotional brain, and the thinking brain. I know you have heard. You know something about that? If you know, please just share your comments, share your ideas in the chat. Okay. Anything you would like to share, what you know, what you have heard. Okay. Any question if you have, I can probably start answering them while I'm just talking. Okay. So please feel free to share your ideas in the chat. Okay. Look, the thing talking to see the brain as like kind of three parts, it's to first know when these areas are developing. As you can see there in brackets, they have kind of received different names, like nicknames. That reptilian brain is the one, as the name says, all related to instinctive, okay? The emotional or is the one that mammalian brain or mammalians have, okay? Is the one in charge of the limbic system. He comes everything relating to the emotions, okay? And the last one, let's say, is the thinking, the neocortex, okay? All the rational processes, the thinking processes, okay? The decision taking, the logical ones are here, okay? Now, this is a very easy kind of exercise that we know how to learn the brain. No? When you put your hand like this, okay, you make like a fist, yes? I'm trying to show, okay, this will be your column, this is the brain, okay? Here, over here, I don't know if you can see the camera, but I'm showing it, okay? Here we will have the instinctive brain, okay, over here. The emotional brain over here, this is kind of like this. And the thinking brain or the neocortex will be this, your fingers, okay? Instinctive, here the emotional one, you close it and you have the thinking, yes? There is a reason of this position. When we are, I mean, since we are born, babies, toddlers, etc., the ones that is fully working is which one? The instinctive, the reptilian brain. For that reason, babies cry for their milk. No? That's the reason babies cry, because when they don't see their mothers. Yes, that's the reason toddlers, the famous terrible 2 years, no, cry and have tantrums when they don't get what they want, because what is fully working is their instinctive brain, the reptilian one, the one that doesn't think, that just reacts, crying, shouting, tantrums, etc. Okay, that is the first one that it works. Okay, that I repeat, that's the reason babies cry when they need something. It's an instinctive reaction. Then comes the limbic system. I think there is one in the chat. The emotional brain controls our emotion. Exactly. Here comes all things relating to emotion. Now, when we talk about emotional intelligence, control your emotion, you need to manage your emotions. We validate emotions. Now, nowadays, we talk a lot about emotion, thanks to, again, pandemic. If we get some positive from the pandemic, is that now everyone is talking about emotions. We didn't used to talk about that, right? Okay. Now, and everything is here. Yes. And the last, as I told you, these neocortex are the ones that make us think, rationalize, to be logical, okay, to analyze situations and take the best decision to anything. Okay. So if the brain developing the instinctive, then comes the emotional. The last one that get fully developed is the thinking brain. Let me ask you a question. Do you know when this thinking brain stopped developing? What is that age when we can say, okay, this is a mature brain? You can share that in the chat. What is that age? Which age the brain is fully developed? The thinking brain is developed. Do you know? You see that the 10 years old, 15, 18. What do you think? Can you share in the chat, please? How old are we when our thinking brain is fully developed? Nobody? I'm sorry. Okay, Mercedes says never. Yeah, that's another thing we'll say, never. Okay, we're talking about neurological, biological. There is an age, an approximation again, because remember when talking about brains and everything biological or neurological is not an exact, yeah, usually kind of a period, let's say, but there is an approximation. Okay, Miss Inez says 6. Okay, what about the rest? What do you think is that the age where the thinking brain, which is the one, actually the thinking brain is the one that makes the difference or that differentiates us from the animals? Yes, that's the one that makes the difference between humans and animals, right? But what's the age it gets fully developed? 6, any other idea? When we are teenagers, adults. No more ideas. No fancy. There are many people just connecting. Hello, good morning. How are you? Welcome. We're talking about the parts of the brain, and my last question is when or which age, okay, the thinking brain is fully developed or mature. I mean, you put in the chat that when we are 6 years old, what do you consider? What about the rest? 21 says Carolina. Thank you. What about the rest? Okay, Lydia says adults. Okay, class. Thanks to the different studies and evidence from neurosciences and the last 50 years, because neurosciences appear studying the brain thanks to the different techniques, okay, and devices we have, etc. The last 50 years, okay. Angelica says 25. Yeah, the age where that thinking brain is kind of mature or fully developed, it's from 21, 25 years, 25, sorry, years old. It can be more, yes. But 25 years old, okay, and we reach that age, that part of the brain is in constant development, okay? Now, there is a difference between men and women, by the way, okay? It's not the same, a man's brain, sorry, man's brain with a woman brain, definitely. And that's nothing to do with other social situations. And we're talking about the neuro thing, the biological thing. And also the age will vary, okay? I think we all know that, but the scientific reason is the same. I mean, the brain, in the case of men, okay, it delays a bit more to get fully developed, while in the case of women, not. Okay, so we'll say that in the case of women, it gets about 25 years old, okay, sometimes even earlier, and men a bit more, okay, it will be later. So now imagine if it's 25 or the 20s, where that thinking brain is fully developed, what can we expect from a kid of 5 years old, of 6 years old, of 10 years old, or 13 years old? That part of the brain is still developing, okay? So sometimes, that's what I told you some minutes ago, that knowing about this is to help us have real expectations about them, okay? Because a common problem that we have as adults, as a mother, as a father, as a teacher, etc., the common problem we have is that we expect that kids or teenagers think like us or not, ¿no? And that happens a lot. Ya le he dicho 1000 veces y no me entiende, no sé qué más hacer, ¿no? Okay? Because we are expecting that they think like us. Yes? And it won't happen like that because their brain is not fully developed yet. Okay? So, and even an adult. So we have adults from 18, 19, 20 years old, and they don't even have that part of the brain fully developed or fully mature. Okay? So we need to understand this. We need to know this, that it's a process. Yes, the brain is learning. Now you will say, but I have to wait until this kid is the 20-something so he or she can think. No. Because remember that the brain, okay, if it is a magical organ, it's excellent and blah, 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 no? The best for that reason humans work or think like we think. But is not like something automatically. No? Okay, tomorrow I will turn 25, so tomorrow my brain is fully developed and everything will work fine. No, because all the previous years, okay, were key to have a fully and healthy developed brain. Okay, so all the previous years, for that reason, it's important what that brain receives. Okay, and even more important, the first 12 years old. The most important period of time talking about brain are the first 12 years old. Have you ever heard about that? Okay, the first 12. And we can even make it shorter because from those 12 years where the 80% of the critical period of learning have already reached, okay, the first 6 years old, okay, the first 6 years old of life are the base. Okay, so imagine, yeah, our mental health as adult now, as an adult, I can check up my mental health, I can go to the psychology, to the therapy, and etc. And all the mental situations I can have are not from now, are from when I was a teenager or a kid. Yes, for that reason, it's very important to know this. So some key concepts I told you it's important to have, okay, are this. Okay, you have them, the names in Spanish. Okay, but again, the brain, amygdala, the theory of mind, and as we check the neocortex. Have you ever heard about these terms? Have you ever heard the terms? I don't have full information, but I know I just came up with these words: theory of mind, the neocortex, the amygdala, but it's the in the brain, not the ones in our throats. Mercedes says yes. Okay, great. If you are into the neuroeducation, a part of that, as I told you, psychology, I remember, you will tell me, but when I was studying education at university in this famous subject of psychology, no? Psicología del aprendizaje, remember? Okay, I think that was the only subject I had regarding this, okay? Yeah, and they mentioned something about the brain, but not, they don't go deeply because actually it's not part of, they don't stick to that. I mean, some years ago when I was a university student. This comes again from the neuro. And it's important to at least know some key information about them. That is related to what I show you here. Okay, the different parts of the brain. Okay, we have already discussed the neocortex, which is this thinking part. Okay, that it takes more than 20 years, okay, to be fully developed. Okay, and some of you said, well, we'll never get, yes, it happens that never, again, because what happened, all the input received years ago will actually define in the future brain, okay, the thinking process, etc. For example, example about this, what about the critical thinking, pensamiento crítico en los adultos en hoy en día, en esta sociedad? Is there critical thinking in adults? In our societies? In Latin America in general, we can talk about in our the entire world. What about the thinking, the critical thinking in adults? We're talking about adults, no, because that's something that we would expect. Okay. Now, what about this? Okay, it's for can we find examples of that? Okay. ¿Estamos llenos de adultos con pensamiento crítico? ¿O llenos de adultos todo lo opuesto? Que no piensan por sí mismos y siguen a los demás. You will say that. Okay. Analyze your own society and you will notice. Okay, you will notice. Okay, so to be critical thinker started when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. No, not now that I am an adult. Okay, not says Alejandra. Yeah, no. We have a lot of problems because of adults not having critical thinking. Okay, in general, I mean, majority in all societies. Okay, that is a huge problem, and that's why we are like that in different society. Not having critical thinking as an adult is a serious problem as a society, and that's a completely different thing. But how can we develop critical thinking in the future adults? Starting with the young learners now, right? Then theory of mind, it's actually the empathy. No, that is something we also talk a lot. Yes, there is no empathy. People are not empathic. Yes, we should teach empathy to kids, no, etc., etc. What about the empathy? Do we teach it? Can we teach to be empathic to people? Why is it a problem? I think we noticed that with the pandemic, no? And we even label as Peruvians as that. Los peruanos no somos empáticos. I remember a lot saying or listening to that. ¿No? Es que el peruano no es empático. Nos falta empatía, ¿no? Carecemos de empatía. So empathy was the fashion word or has been the fashion word the recent years. Okay? Why is that? Okay, we can reinforce. Yeah. Again, empathy that people talk a lot nowadays, yeah, or no, they give their comments. But again, empathy starts in the brain, okay, with a theory of mind, teoría de la mente. When I learned about this, I remember at university, but I learned it in my master. I learned it in my master, not before. But when I studied this, it was like an open mind, definitely, okay, because it was like an eye opener. It was like, oh my God, now I understand everything completely different. Okay, it's really an eye opener. I suggest you recommend you to read to profound about this theory of mind, because again, it comes from the brain. It should be, yeah, taught, but more like taught, orientated since we are kids. Okay, at every moment. For that reason, if we're teaching English, okay, yeah, it's important, my vocabulary, the parts of the face, the verb to be, yeah, of course, but those moments of the classroom management, this is something that should be part of our lives. Okay, why did I mention that it's important and it comes from the brain? Because for example, when talking about special needs, when talking about autism, okay, autistic people, their brains, you know, that's something that it's related to the way the brain works, etc. In those cases, most of them, their brain, okay, cannot or hasn't developed this theory of mind. Okay, so for that reason, for an autistic kid or person, will be a bit different, a bit difficult, okay, to be empathic, to feel this empathy, because their brain cannot do that. Yes, that is again a difference between having these neurodiverse people or neurotypical people, because their brain is not working the same way. So when talking about theory of mind, you will notice the differences with neurodiverse and neurotypical. Okay, for that reason they have different. I wouldn't like to make it long about. For that reason, they have communicational problems, social problems, or social difficulties, we can call it in another way. These social communicative difficulties, for example, autistic people can have, is because of this, the theory of mind. Okay? They cannot feel or they cannot put themselves in other people's shoes. And not because they are bad, not because they are misbehaved. It's because your brain is not prepared for that. Okay, so there is a neurological, again, biological reason behind that. Now, if we don't help kids to develop this, now some of you, for example, but most of people only talk about empathy, but they don't put into practice. Yeah, and you know why they cannot put into practice? Because they are already adults. And to learn this, or their brain to learn this, is going to be very difficult. Very difficult. Okay, the theory of mind starts, again, the development of theory of mind is around 4 or 5 years old. There is an experiment. I will find a video. I couldn't find it. I think we won't have time to show you. I will put the link in the Google Classroom. There is a video of the experiment, okay, that proves this theory of mind. And it's about 4 or 5 years old when it's the moment we start teaching kids, okay, that they start putting themselves in other people's shoes. But it all the first years they are in the learning process. Okay, and that is the responsibility of teachers, parents, no, families, to help them to orientate their brain, sorry, sorry, I'm not over there. Okay, it's our responsibility to help them or to guide them with examples, etc. If that brain is developing that and is not receiving the correct input, this brain continues as a teenager, continues as an adult, and it won't be highly difficult to start learning how to be, okay, because that moment, okay, when the brain was like this, like a sponge, no? Remember when we say, "Están esponjita, todo aprenden de chiquitos." Yes, the same happens with this thing, okay, also related to the values, okay, how to be respectful, how to be responsible, okay, etc., comes also from our brain. And it has a period of time where the brain learns that. Can I teach an adult to be responsible? Can I teach an adult to be punctual? Okay, to be respectful? No. Okay? No, because that brain lost his moment when he or she was a kid. Okay, so the same happens with empathy. Okay, so if when I start teaching kids, okay, I should have here in my mind that no, they are learning. They don't know as an adult what is to do something to another student, ¿no? That is a typical. No hagamos a otros que no queremos que nos hagan a nosotros. Pensemos en el otro. Yeah, we have to tell them. We have to show them. But it's not only once or two eyes, millions of times, because their brain are also developing at the same way. Yes. And last one, this brain amygdala, which is over here. I think I have a picture. Okay. This is representing this amygdala, the one related to the emotions. It's over here in this part of the brain. Okay. And this is, yeah, a teenager should have developed already those empathy. But again, what happens if we have a teenager that is completely selfish, doesn't think in others, etc.? All years before, what happened? Who taught them? No, and we should, I mean, keep telling them, demonstrating them, for example, help them, no, to learn how to be, empathic and so on. But again, because a teenager has the brain already in process of learning and developing. Yes. But the thing is, when we are adults, remember, for that reason, with the adults we have now, it's very difficult to change their minds, to change their behavior, okay, because of their brains. Yes. Yes, not impossible, because again, the brain, for that reason I told you, is very difficult. It's like, remember I told you I had a student of, he was 82 years old, no? My oldest student. And was it possible for him to learn English at the age of 82? Yes, it is possible. Why? Because of the brain, because of the plasticity, the neuroplasticity. Yeah, it is possible. But is it going to be easy? No, right? We need a lot more factors, okay? So this student could learn English. The same happened with the rest, no? The same happened with the rest, to get values, etc. Yeah, the brain will, I mean, neurologically talking, yeah, it can be possible. Would it be easy? No, it won't. Okay, it will be more complex. First, in the case of adult, we'll start with a self-motivation. That is the thing, and that is the most difficult thing, that the adult accept, no, that he or she needs to change something. If we don't have that, the next won't be possible. That is, okay? The same happens. If I am 82 years old and I want to learn English, okay, I need to have that motivation, no? That that organization, that effort. It needs to start with me. If not, it won't work. The same happen with the rest, with all values, etc. Okay, the adult needs to, okay, yes, I need to learn this. I need some help. And that is a problem with adults. For that reason, I told you, it's not impossible because of neuroplasticity. But the thing is that we will require more factors. There are definitely much more time. And let's start that the adult takes the decision to do that. And that happens, as we know, that most of the time it's not like that, right? Okay, we're talking about amygdala. It's again brains. It's important to again know that emotions, most of the time, emotions control, as some of you put, I think, control our thinking brain. So what we notice that with kids, with the tantrums, los berrinches, no? We have this, as I told you, the famous terrible 2 years old, or teaching kindergarten. We will notice sometimes kids from 3, 4, 5 years old that they probably can start crying or they start shouting, no? They do those kind of things, okay? And because when they are little kids, yes? And that happens again because this amygdala is fully immature, okay? Also, let's make a comparison. What about the adults? As adults, have we also got tantrums? ¿Tenemos berrinches de adultos or no? What would you say? Probably we don't start like crying or fighting the things or going into the floor like a kid on a supermarket who didn't get a chocolate he wanted. Definitely not the same form. But what happens if you're in the middle of the bus, okay? You were late, the bus driver is late, no? A lot of traffic, you are getting late to your work. What do you do? Okay? We probably start shouting or we start and saying some words, okay? I don't know. And that is our tantrum, no? That is our berrinche, yes? But it's the same as kids, but kids do different things, okay? Or the same happens that, I don't know, you want to take an important document for a printer and the printer stopped working that time that you were in an urgency, no? And you start like hitting the printer that you won't get any solution. That is our tantrums. Those are our adult tantrums, yes? Okay? So imagine if us with a purely developed brain, with our amygdala that is already developed, we have those tantrums. Now, what can we expect from kids that they have not developed this area yet? Okay? What happened in that case? When they got any prizes, tantrums. I will write it. Tantrum is berrinche. Okay? Tantrums. Okay? When they get into this crisis, what can be this crisis? When mom doesn't buy a chocolate, when the teacher stops showing a video, no? When the teacher decides to stop a game and probably a kid start crying or shouting, a tantrum, okay? Those are crises kids have, okay? Well, what happens in sorry, their brain is that, remember that we have here the emotional brain, yes, the instinctive, the emotional, and over here the thinking brain. When they're in the middle of the crisis, and you can have this information on this yellow picture, okay, they have that crisis or that stimulus, okay. What their brain will do is that this, okay, all the emotional brain will kind of assault, okay, kind of get into kidnap, okay, the thinking brain. And what is acting, okay, it's not the thinking brain. The thinking brain stopped working. Now imagine again, and that what happens with adults as well. But imagine a kid that the thinking brain is in process of getting developed, but that kid, okay, is being or is working from his or her emotional brain, instinctive and emotional. So emotions plus reptilian reactions will be the screaming, the shouting, hitting things, crying, getting in the floor, throwing things, okay? All what we're seeing on those kids is because their brain is being dominated by the emotions and the primitive responses or reactions, okay? That because of this is the root. What happens on very young learners is they have this short root, okay? They have this emotional stimulus. My teacher stopped the game, for example, okay? So it goes to different parts of the brain, the thalamus, etc. And it takes a short route, because they are young learners, their brain is not mature yet, okay? And here in the amygdala, which is over here, okay, gets an emotional response. Definitely, generally, it's more like response, a reaction. They cry, they shout, they throw things, etc. Okay? We help them as adults, we help them, we guide them, we teach them, we show them, most importantly, because if I am the teacher and I also get my tantrum and I start shouting or yelling and I lose my own emotional regulation, what I'm teaching that kid is the same thing, the short route, okay? The huge challenge for adults and definitely for kids, but for adults more because we are the ones that show them, is this, is the long route, okay? That they go to the cortex and then take a deep breath and say, no, okay? It's my fault, I was late, okay? The traffic, I know there is traffic at 8 o'clock in the morning, so what can I do? I cannot find a solution shouting at a bus driver, no? What makes us think is because we take a moment and our all brain processes is taking the long route, thinking and regulating our emotions. Okay, so if doing that is not easy, for that reason, many of us adults can't do that. Now imagine a little kid. Okay, they cannot go to this, their brains cannot go to this long route and take a moment to think, no, my teacher stopped the game because we are about to start a different thing. Not the first times, okay? Probably at the time number 20, they can, for that reason, routines are important. Anticipation is important. We are helping their brains, okay, to know that there is a moment for everything. So probably the first time for some kids, this will be difficult. They will have their tantrums, so they will get emotional reactions when the teacher stop a game, a video with something they like, okay, different things. But then, with the guide of the teacher, with the anticipation, with a set of routines, we're helping the brain to organize. And the next time, I stop my game, I stop the video, etc., and that kid won't react as he or she used to react before, okay? Because we are helping them, we teach them to take this long route, yes? But there, there is a reason why they react like that, because of their brain, okay? And again, what is a typical age that those happen? The year of tantrums, which is 2 years, 3 years, 4. We expect not to have that, okay, when they are 6, 7 years old. If I have a kid, for example, that is 9 years old, let's suppose, and this kid reacts crying, shouting, throwing out things, okay, that is a red flag, okay? That there should be another thing hidden, okay? Time is also important to notice that, okay? So if to expect that from little kids until 6 years old, probably in the way to 7, sometimes 7, okay, but a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old having all those kind of reactions, that's a red flag, and we need to do other things, okay? That's kind of, I won't say normal, but it's not what we should expect, okay? According to the brain development, remember, okay? And sorry, let me read the chat. Adults usually don't show the emotions. They can learn to control them, but young learners, especially children, exactly. Yes, they show it, and they don't even know. For that reason, young learners or very young learners, they don't even know what's happening to us. Okay, after they get out from that moment of crisis, they don't really know why they start shouting, crying, suffering, hitting things, throwing things. It's like they don't even know. For that reason, it's important that we give names to their emotion, that they recognize their emotion, that so then in the future they can control their emotions. It's a huge process. Okay. Method reaction after professional evaluation. Yeah, of course. Talking about neurodiversity is something completely different, because remember the process the way their brain processes stimulus is different. Okay, so imagine if we are talking about in a general way, neurotypical way, talking about neurodiversity is something completely different. And each student, we can talk about the autism spectrum, and even one kid is going to be different from the rest of them. So there is a lot to know about them. Okay, but the thing is that we as an adult, we need to have this information for real expectations and to see, okay, yeah, this is something not because of misbehavior or because I need to punish this kid or because this kid has bad parents. No, there is something deeper. Okay, that's the reason. And this is just a picture for you to see the reference of how it works, the different parts of the area. Okay, and what I told you about the stress, when these kids are in the middle of a crisis for any reason, or when teachers or parents are very strict, or they shout at them, or they punish them, the brain start liberating the famous, cortisol, okay, the hormone of stress. And not only cortisol, it's cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, okay, these famous neurotransmitters that will liberate stress, okay, on our brain. I remember what I told you when we started the lesson. A brain which is stressed cannot learn. So it's definitely affecting the learning processes of that student, okay, any input of stress. And with that stress becomes toxic, for that reason, the neurotoxic, okay? When this cortisol and all this I mentioned become toxic, the problem is more serious, okay? And it can even modify the architecture of the brain. Imagine a kid having, and that's what we'll see in a minute. Imagine a kid as what you mentioned in the Padlet, no? Kids come from with family problems. Kids come with emotional problems. Yeah, that is a source of stress. And imagine a kid comes to our classroom and this kid have a lot of days with stressful situations, stressful input. Okay, that brain is becoming toxic or neurotoxic. And that is affecting the shape of the brain, it's affecting the architecture of the brain. And I'm not saying that, and that is what neuroscientists found. Okay, the different areas of the brain get modified because of the different stress factors they receive. So imagine what can we do as adults to that brain in development. No, what we do as adults can really affect even the architecture of a brain. Talking about physical, not psychological, which is also going to be impacted, but also physical. Yes, these are the different areas we have, etc. Empathy has to do a lot with a non-verbal language. Okay, non-verbal language has to do a lot with empathy and with the emotions learning. Okay, that 90% of the emotional relation comes from learning non-verbal. Okay, so imagine our face, our eyes, our gestures are highly important for kids and for their brain to help them in the process of regulation of emotions. Imagine that. What I told you about these stressful situations they can live is about this. Have you ever heard about adverse childhood experiences or ACEs? Any ideas that you can share in the chat? Do you know what are the famous ACEs? Yeah, right. No, never. Okay. Knowing this again, as adults, that we are in charge of kids, families, teachers, principals, and everyone should know this. Even our authorities in the government should know this. Talking about the adverse childhood experiences, it's to know that there exist 10, okay? 10 of different childhood experiences that will affect not only, could you repeat the question, please? Yes. Hi, Cici, how are you? If you know anything about this adverse childhood experiences, the famous ACEs or ACEs, they call it in Spanish. Have you ever heard about this? There are 10. I will show it in a minute. Look, these are the different childhood experiences that they have kind of identified. Probably as adults, okay, we have experienced at least one of them. Okay, all probably of our generation. Well, I am 31 years old. Okay, the ones that we are 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s definitely have experienced at least one of them. Okay, at some moment in our life. Yes, and I consider here you have the reference. This study came, and believe me, this study came not from a psychologist, not from a teacher. It came from a pediatrician, because a pediatrician noticed that many kids were coming with different health problems when they were so very young. And there is a TED talk. I will also try to find it and put the link. She explains, no, that for her was really worrying that kids had these problems since they were very young, because that was kind of adult problems. So she decided to start an investigation, and with other, of course, professionals, um, like psychologists, psychiatrists, neuroscientists, etc., etc. Okay, and they found out this: when having these problems, okay, like this, will affect like here. Notice. Look, these are the results they found out. How many childhood adverse childhood experiences a kid had during his her lifetime will affect different things, as you have there, okay? Mayor riesgo de consumir drogas, los que experimentan de 4 a más de estas experiencias adversas, okay? 2 a 3 veces mayor riesgo de padecer cáncer, enfermedades cardíacas, okay? And this is something to do with us as teachers. Imagine, okay? 32 more chances. So they have learning problems and behavioral problems. 32 more chances. Imagine, okay? So what you mentioned at the beginning of the class, no, family problems, emotional problems occurred because of that. Okay, because we probably don't know what the student is living at home. Okay, so imagine a student, a kid, okay, having all of this, or most of them, no dad or no mom, and their parents having problems, alcohol, etc., etc. Look what can affect. Okay, so as you notice, not only psychological problems. We are not talking about the psychological thing, that the self-esteem and all different that will definitely affect mental health. We're talking about a physical health, like, for example, cancer. Okay, and so imagine all kids having those kind of problems in our field as education will occur these kind of situations in the case of learning and behavior. Okay, because they have experience. Sorry, let me learn in the chat. Let me read in the chat. I had 2 students when they used to cut themselves when they are sad. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have a lot of problems in the case of kids, teenagers. No, they trying to kill themselves. This is the reason. This is the reason. Okay. In a second. Please, I'm just trying to put this. Okay, sorry, trying to find a transfer for my kid. Okay, so this is the reason, the way they behave. We can see this disruptive conductas disruptivas is because of this. Okay, is we need to start kind of labeling that kid that misbehave parents. No, because they're probably facing all those situations. Of course, again, teachers, I know this is not our work. We cannot do more than what we are there, that is to teach English, but this is for us to understand them and what they can face them. And if we notice that, because we are with them in the classroom, even more if we are teachers from school or school teachers, we need to report those situations. No, and then the psychologists at school, and they know, you know, that there are different protocols and processes to do, but we can save a kid. Okay, we can save a kid, we can help a kid just from an English class. Okay, so as I'm telling you, this is not our work. Probably not. I know that not all of the teachers are prepared for this. They are not trained in this. Some of us, yes, we are. Okay, so probably for us, I consider myself, it's easier to notice those kind of things. Okay, but everyone, I repeat, and I will always emphasize, who is in charge of kids need at least to know that this exists. Okay, that this can be the reason of a problem in my classroom. Okay, of a misbehave, of a problem of learning. And if we identify that, let's better report that, okay? Or try to work with families if it's possible, etc., etc., etc. Okay? And for that, the last minutes of class, something exists since some years. Again, something new. What about the 90s or the 80s? Okay, starting talking about the positive discipline. That will definitely help with all those adverse experiences. We'll try to avoid those adverse experiences. And as teachers, we help with our classroom management. Have you heard about this positive discipline? We won't have time to, I had another Padlet to know your answers, but there is no time because this topic is really, as you know, this big. There is a lot of information, but so let's skip this. Okay, I'm talking about positive discipline. There you have it in Spanish. Okay, it's the one that is based not only in psychology, it's also based in neuroscience. It's based on the studies of the brain, what I have shown you some minutes or the first part of the lesson. Okay, and it has been proven that it really works. Okay, it's not an invention, it's not something that is in fashion, no. Okay, it's something that will really help young learners to become healthier adults in the future. Okay, there you have what it is. You have the words in Spanish, but I just highlighted that is the one that understand the reasons kids do what they do, the reasons. Okay, help us to understand, okay, why is this kid always crying? Why this kid react like this? Why does this kid finds difficult to learn this part of the language? I know. Okay, understand the reasons, and that's something that usually never happen. No, we want to change that behavior, that conduct, or we label that conduct, but we don't go deeper. We need to understand the reasons. Okay, it I mean, this basis is to change our false beliefs about the why of the behavior. Okay, and what I told you, what I have just told you, no, instead of just treating that behavior, is to help us to understand, okay, why is that bad behavior, what's really happening. Okay, and the idea of the positive discipline is not to punish. Okay, not to punish, actually not punish and not praising in an unnecessary way, sin premios ni castigos. That is the main form of using positive discipline, not at home, not at school. Okay, and it gives us different resources, different ways to help them grow different abilities so they can become really good citizens in the future. Yes, what I have been also asking you during the lesson, no? Okay, let's analyze our society. Let's analyze the adults we have now. Okay, what is the problem? What is missing? Okay, let me check here. Give me a second, please. Yeah, not just to punish, but to help them, as I told you, grow, develop different skills. Why is it important? Again, you have the information until this is, for example, 20 years ago. Okay, 20 years ago, when new researchers, new studies started coming in, because positive discipline in general comes from the Adlerian psychology. Okay, that part of the psychology. Okay, and here we have this. Okay, you have here the reason why is it important. We need to know that discipline is essential. Okay, this is not putting rules. It's, yeah, of course we should set limits, we should set boundaries, but with respect. And that is the difficult part. You know, how can I set boundaries? How can I set limits? Okay, without respect. Okay, how can I do that without punishing? No, I think all of us we have learned from our parents, from our teachers, that to teach discipline to our kids or to our students with punishment or not. Before I started studying all these things at university and then different courses or specializations, the only way I knew to help you with discipline was to punish. Okay, but no, there is not the only way, and actually there are more ways which really work long-term talking. Okay, and that help also students to feel more secure. Okay, we have this. What else? Here I have, what is it for you to read? Okay, it's for long term, help us to the self-discipline. That is the idea, that we have these future adults who have self-discipline. When we punish them, we're not helping that. For that reason, now we have adults with different problems, okay, with others, okay, because they don't have these self-discipline skills, because they haven't been taught that. Because when they were kids, when they were teenagers, their parents, because of course of lack of information, lack of evidence, etc., nobody taught them. They cannot now, as an adult, like have this self-discipline, okay, because he or she hasn't been taught. Okay, but now new generations, we can change that because we have all this info and evidence. Okay, we have this, as I told you, real expectations. Okay, setting limits, rules. It's a mutual respect thing. Okay, a mutual respect. Remember years ago, okay, only teachers, no, I am the teacher, you are the kid, so you have to do what I say. Your opinion doesn't matter, what you say doesn't matter, only what I do. No, this kind of vertical situation. Well, that doesn't happen, or that shouldn't happen nowadays. Okay, because I respect you, you respect me, everyone respect each other, because we are humans and we live in society. Okay, since kids, teenagers, and adults. Okay, you have to increase competences, of course, confidence, so we can handle these kind of challenges. We teach courtesy, no violence, empathy, what I told you. Okay, self-respect, human rights, etc. Okay, and this is, for example, evidence some years ago. So it's kind of something new. For that reason, I know that teaching this or talking about this with people or adults that are older than us is very difficult. Okay, very difficult to change their minds. Okay, but as we know, with different things we have in science and so on, more importantly, there is evidence. There is evidence of all of this. Okay, these are the 4 principles of this positive discipline. Okay, we are kind but firm. Okay, is the balance. We shouldn't be authoritative, we shouldn't be permissive. Actually, we should be in the balance, and for that reason, it's very difficult for most of us. Okay, also it allows the kids to have a sense of belonging, which is highly important. When there is no sense of belonging, we have teenagers, for example, that they want to escape from their house or not. Have you seen the recent news here in Lima, no, with these 3 teenagers that disappeared from their house and they appear in Miraflores? Okay, why is it common for teenagers to escape from home? Because they don't have this feeling of belonging. Okay, and actually that's what I thought immediately when I saw the news, and I think that's the problem, because yesterday or 2 days ago I heard the police saying that 2 of these kids, this teenager had very violence, a very violent family, and they were just running away. Okay, so when we don't build this sense of belonging in the kids or teenagers, we are putting them in a very huge risk. Okay, long-term effects and just life skills. Okay, and here you have some ideas of what to do. I will show it. Okay, we will check that. I think we won't have the time. I will give you some then ideas in the slides. You will check that in the Google Classroom. But first, starting to set the rules or the agreements. Okay, normally happen. Some of you say at the beginning that kids don't follow the rules, no, or they don't obey. Okay, let's start how we set the rules. I did it only, trust myself because I'm the teacher, or we did these rules together with the kids. No, the way we do it is important. For example, what I did with my kids, because I'm currently teaching kids from 8 to 10 years old, was a classroom agreement. That was the name, not classroom rules. It was classroom agreement. Okay, and they were sharing their ideas, and I just wrote them on a piece of paper on the wall. Okay, do you agree? I agree. Okay, this is our classroom agreement. Come here in front of the class, and you're going to sign. And I make them sign. No, they put their names, and I did it as well. Okay, because it was a classroom agreement. Just changing the word or changing the way we deliver it, believe me, it will help the environment we have in class. Okay, so they know that we are agreeing on something. It's not that I am putting the rules and you have to obey because you are the kid and I'm the teacher. No. Okay, it's a moment of we respect everyone. And what I do with this, okay, I have this paper of classroom agreement, everyone sign, and every class I paste it on the wall. Okay, so they know that they have to respect the agreement. Okay, something that you can do. When I have little kids, and they can probably, I remember changing the sign with putting their hands, no? So they draw their hands on a color paper and they wrote their names and paste them. Okay, the different ways. But instead of having the classroom rules, no, you must blah blah blah. No, let's change the way, not like an obligation, and they will respect that. They will respect. So I'm also telling you from the experience, from the practice part, not only the theory, because I have put all of this in practice, and it really works. Okay, it really works. And also happened to me with my 2 kids at home. Okay, probably I don't have a paper, but as they are my kids, we talk, and they respect the rules, and I don't need to kind of punish them. Okay, warning, and of course, if there is a bad conduct to defining it. Okay, consequences. Positive discipline is about consequences, not really punishments. Okay, and this number 5 is for us teachers. Okay, and that's a difficult part. Remember, we as adults, we have our tantrums. Okay, but we shouldn't take it personal. Okay, we shouldn't take it personal. That is not because of us, not because it's a bad kid, okay, or no. Okay, remember, we are the ones that have the brain develop. Okay, so we are supposed to start using our thinking brain and not the emotional brain or not the instinctive brain. Okay, because my kid is already using the instinctive brain. Okay, but he or she needs a brain that is working from a thinking brain, the thinking part. Okay, so if the kid is just being dominated by the instinctive and emotional brain, and then comes the teacher also dominated by the instinctive and emotional brain, that is a chaos in the classroom. Okay, it will definitely end up really bad. Okay, so and that's the actually the difficulty for many of us. Here I have some ideas. Okay. Yes, what to do well, and you know how to give me a second. Give me a second. Sorry, I had just a problem here. Okay, different ways, and we know that on the internet we have different things. For example, here says class rules, but you have pictures, no, depending on the age you are teaching. Okay, pictures or sentences. Of course, if they are little kids, if it's kinder, okay, they are not reading yet, so we use pictures. No, we need to adapt them, of course, to their age. No, look like this: the 3 B's: be ready, be respectful, be responsible. No more. I will use this for a kinder, for example. No, if you do a list of 10 rules, no, that won't work either. Okay. About this, please, if you are using this, don't use it because this doesn't work. Okay, we should teach kids that they have to do things because it's part of their responsibility. Okay, they don't have to do it because they will receive a reward. Okay, I want them to be respectful all their life, not because they will receive a sticker. Okay, or they will receive a chocolate. Okay, I want the kids to be responsible and do their homework or be clean and tidy because it's part of our life skills, not because they are going to receive a sticker. Yes, this is a very usual, very traditional way of teaching discipline, but it doesn't work because again, then we will have adults that they don't do it if you don't receive. I won't receive anything. Why would I do it? And that's not the idea. You have to do it because it's part of our life, part of our values, part of our social skills. Yes. For that reason, these kind of things actually doesn't work because we need to teach them life skills. Okay. And because they need to respect the others, not because someone else is looking at you. No, you need to respect others because that is part of society. Okay. Class, here I have different information about traditional and discipline versus positive discipline. So you can see the big difference between one and another. But I think we won't have time to check here. You will see this in the Google Classroom as soon as I upload the PPT. Look, everything. Who developed the theory? What motivates behavior? When do we have the most influence on the behavior of others? The most powerful tools for adults. It's a really complete chart you will read in the Google Classroom. What is respect? For example, the traditional discipline find that respect is obedience and compliance in relationships in which dignity and respect of adult is primary, because the traditional discipline is adult-centered. What about the positive? Consider that respect is mutual in relationships in which each person is equally worthy of dignity and respect. Okay, so the two think differently about respect. Okay, so you have response to inappropriate behavior, response to dangerous, destructive behavior. Student learning is maximized when, for example, traditional discipline says when the adult has effective control over student behavior. What believes the positive discipline is that student learning is maximized when the student feels belonging. This is what I told you in the case of the teenagers who usually escape from their home, and significance in the classroom. When we get that, when our classroom feel happy, feel secure, feel that they belong to that group of class, we win everything. We win everything, believe me. Okay, that is the first thing we need to get. Okay, you have here some ideas that you can find there in the PowerPoint. And I will leave you as a short homework, a question for you to discuss. Now that you have this information, what do you normally apply to your classroom? Is that traditional? Is that positive? What do you think about? I will leave you some questions for you to discuss and kind of self-reflect on your own teaching practice, okay, and what challenges. Please, if you have more questions, I know that there is huge info in just very short amount of time, but there is something left, any doubts, any questions, please feel free to write it in the classroom, okay? And probably the next lesson, the first minutes before we go to the next topic, I can just solve some of the doubts, questions and doubts you have, okay? But you know, this is really huge topic to try to cover all in lesson. Yes. Angelica says give are conditional. Yes, I have a condition. I am completely against this. Condicionamiento doesn't work. Okay, doesn't work. Definitely. Positive discipline doesn't work on that. Okay, definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much. So see you next Saturday. Please, again, if are any doubts, questions, just feel free to fill it in the classroom. I will upload this and see you next Saturday. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a great weekend. See you.